everyone, and welcome to another edition of Bonnie's Insider, presented by Universal Primary Care. This week we'll take a look behind the scenes of basketball preseason preparations and meet a new member of the women's basketball coaching staff. We'll also catch up with a baseball alum chasing major league dreams, debut a new student-athlete feature, and more. First up, we confirm that Bonnie's pride truly is worldwide. The Bona tennis teams recently kicked off their fall seasons and again bring an international flair to their rosters. The men's and women's teams bring athletes from around the globe to St. Bonaventure, including representatives from 8 different countries.
For internationals, they don't have the opportunity to go to college and play tennis. So it's either you go to college and no tennis, or you go turn pro. So for them to go to college and play it is a great advantage for them. There's a lot of recruiting services out there, a lot of people, a lot of players that I've met over the years that kind of helped out with introducing me to players, getting me to know different players, and that's what helps us a little bit, is the connections we have with in a lot of different countries. Well, I think it's kind of fun to learn about all the other countries. I found out so many interesting things about all the countries that I've had over the years, and a lot of times with them being so far away from home, they kind of stick together because they know the other person's far away too. No one's going home for the weekend or anything like that. So they kind of get along really well together.
Well, I'm from Cordoba, Argentina. Basically, when you're a kid, you're thrown a football ball as soon as you start walking. Everyone plays on the streets during breaks in school. I even started playing soccer when I was young, but my family is big into tennis, so that's kind of why I started playing tennis and eventually fell in love with the sport. But I'm pretty sure if I were born in any other family, I would have played football. The time I was, I think, 17 or 18. I wanted to keep playing tennis, but I wanted to study at the same time. If I were to stay home, I would have stopped playing and just study. The US offered that format of student athlete. That was a good balance between the both. So I started getting in contact with some recruiters who eventually put me in touch with Coach Bates. We talked about the program, the aspirations, he liked my game, and eventually I ended up here. When I was a freshman, I have to confess I was kind of hard that first year, especially because of the whole winter situation. We don't have snow or anything, so the first year I just came with a soft jacket and that was it. So I soon had to buy boots and all that. I always didn't have a car, so I had to walk to class. But then you start making friends, on the tennis team, the guys were always great. And you kind of build relationships and bonds that make life easier. With the team, we are all internationals. We are all kind of in the same situation at some degree, so we all understand each other.
We have multiple companies that help students to study in the US. So I went to the company and he had contact with Coach Bates and we started talking, and that's kind of how I ended up here. I think at the age of 16 there was, well, what am I going to do after high school? And then this process came up. I was excited about it. The process, it takes a year. So I started December 2019 and I came here January 2021 actually. So it's been a long process and I was looking forward to it.
I went to this showcase down in Florida, and that's where I met Coach Bates. We just talked there for a little bit, and then we started emailing back and forth and then calling each other and talking about the whole recruiting process, the program. I came to visit actually, and I liked it here. I liked the culture, the environment, and I came here. I feel like it's such a good experience because you get to meet people from all around and know about them and their culture. Just get used to how things are done in other parts of the country. So it has been a really good experience so far. I talk to my family all the time. I'm a very big family person, but I'm a very independent person too. I talk to them, but at the same time it feels nice to have be here and be independent and make my own decisions and do what I want to do.
When I grew up playing tennis, we were all the same girls living in Rochester. Just getting to meet these guys, it's been a really good experience, seeing all these different cultures. And a lot of my teammates are Spanish speaking, so I've learned a lot of Spanish, especially since that's my minor. So in the classes, we only learn the main language, and then I've gotten to learn slang, I guess, and fun parts of Spanish that the professor mostly wouldn't tell us. We first started getting to know each other. Sometimes it was harder to understand, the accent was a little heavy. We've helped them in situations where they couldn't translate in their head, they're trying to say something in English, but they couldn't get what it was supposed to be in Spanish, and so we've just helped work through and helped them figure out what they were trying to say. But for the most part, it hasn't been too much of a barrier.
Well, Paraguay is a very small country. The transition, it was definitely challenging because it's a very small town and I live in the city. I wanted to transfer at the beginning, but then I ended up staying because I saw a different experience that if I don't live it now, I won't live it all the time. It's experience on It made me grow a lot.
From the tennis court to the basketball court, a highly anticipated season is just around the corner on campus. Preseason prep is underway, and we went behind the scenes at Bonnie's Media Day.
It's almost time, bro. It's almost time, bro.
Hold on. They gotta let me know if they smell. They smell? All right, cool.
That's a wrap.
We know Bonnie's fans are counting the days until the season tips off at the Riley Center November 9th. A successful season takes hard work on and off the court. While many might quickly think about the work in the weight room or in practices leading up to games, a foundation for all of that comes from how athletes are able to fuel up each day. That's where nutritionist Marcy Higgs comes in to help provide keys to success for Bonnie's athletes, both in competition and in the classroom.
I have been a dietitian or a clinical instructor in most of the hospitals in the Buffalo area. My specialty in the hospitals was diabetes. I was a certified diabetes educator here at Bonaventure. I initially taught the nutrition class, then I was introduced to the athletics department and was told that they needed a dietitian, and here I am. Usually when I speak to a team, I start off very general, how to deal with a hickey. There are more food choices than they think and where to look for them. They offer to-go boxes this year, so that becomes key for kids that have early morning practices and they can't get to the hickey to eat, or they have late night. From there I jump on to the fact that you need those meals and snacks throughout the day. You can't let more than 3 to 5 hours go between a meal or a snack, because that's whenever your energy drops. Regardless of what you're doing as far as the athletic realm, as a student, you need those calories to, just give yourself energy to concentrate. From there, I step into balance, carbs, proteins, fat, because what I'm seeing with the students is a lot of students do all of one food group. They do all carbs or all protein or, heaven forbid, all fat. But I try to encourage them to have that balance between the macronutrients. Carbs are energy, and without carbohydrates, your brain has to somehow make carbohydrates to feed the brain. And if you're not giving it to them, then it's gonna break down other sources to get that brain food. Second time, I try to focus in on pre-workout or pre-competition nutrition, and then post-workout, post-competition nutrition. What to do if you have a long competition. For the tennis players, they have multiple matches. It's like, how do you refuel? Or even swimming, how do you refuel in between your matches? People automatically assume, oh, I'll just drink my electrolyte solution and I'll be fine. You usually run out of carbohydrates. You have to replenish your carbs after about 45 minutes to an hour. I love working with the athletes. I love my job. They come to me with a problem and I give them at least one solution. Let's try this. And then have them come back to me and say, wow, I can't believe eating breakfast made such a difference. That's always that aha moment that they're like, oh, wow. That's what I love. That's what motivates me to try to reach as many of them as I can. You can have a sports car, but if you put junk fuel into your sports car, it's not going to run correctly. Versus if you put premium fuel into your sports car, it's gonna run like a dream. It's the same with athletes. They can do everything right, X, Y, and Z. They can be sleeping right, they can be lifting right, they can be practicing, they can have all the extra help practicing, and if they're not eating enough, or they're not eating a balance, or they're not getting enough vitamins and minerals into their diet, or they're not hydrating enough, they're not going to perform at peak. That little extra that they get from nutrition can be the difference between a good game and a great game. This is something that I've been trying to get out to the coaches and to the kids, that I'm not a one and done. Kids can't come to me once and be like, okay, fix it. I can't break habits overnight. You can't go to Fisk and have him make you lift 500 pounds on your first day. It's the same with me. I need to see them multiple times just to tweak and make sure that they're doing everything they can do to take it to the next level.
It's time for a quick break, but there's much more to come. You're watching Bonnie's Insider, presented by Universal Primary Care.
Schultz is always at your service, ensuring your vehicle gets the maintenance it requires. Now, with modern, touchless options across the entire auto care experience. Speak with a service advisor on the phone or at one of our newly envisioned service centers. Pay invoices online or via mobile app. And drive home in confidence, knowing Schultz only permits limited personnel access to your vehicle. Exceeding expectations is our mission. That's why the next generation of auto care is already here at Schultz.
Western New York is known for energy innovation. Today, Energy Mark is leading the way for the next generation of renewable energy. At Energy Mark, we help power Western New York homes and businesses with low-cost, locally produced energy, including renewables like solar and wind power. Energy Mark, the official energy supplier to the Buffalo Bills. Connect your account to Energy Mark at buylocalenergy.com.
The summer of 2021 was a comeback story for sports around the country, and it was the same for Bonnie's alum Connor Gray. After setting the Bonnie's season strikeouts record as a senior in 2016, he was drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks, where he threw the organization's first ever minor league perfect game in 2017. He pitched as high as AAA in the Arizona system before the pandemic roster cuts left him outside affiliated baseball in 2020. This year, he worked his way back through independent ball and was signed by the New York Mets. Before traveling to pitch in the Arizona Fall League this October, Gray returned to Handler Park and is in this week's Alumni Spotlight.
I got a call in end of May. They said, hey, we got to release you. Said they don't have a spot for me. I thought that year would have been my debut year. Going into spring training, I felt the best I've ever felt. Throwing the hardest, felt good, threw well in spring training, and I'm just like, this is the year. Thought I was going to go to alt site before I got released, and then he called and said, hey, we're going to release you. I stayed ready knowing I wanted to still play, and then an opportunity came and I signed with Chicago. It's a little disappointing in that aspect, but I know what my capabilities are, and I felt confident that I still have a chance of making it to the big leagues. I had an opportunity in Chicago already during COVID, and I'm just like, I'm not going to risk getting hurt that year. I waited and see if anything was going to happen with spring training, get an invite by a team or whatnot, and nothing came. So I called back the manager. I said, hey, do you have a spot open for me? And he's like, yeah, if you want it, it's yours. And I said, yeah, I'll take it. I had a few first game jitters, but once I got back out there, everything subsided and it was back to normal. Felt pretty good to be back out there competing. And I talked to a scout with the Braves after I threw one game. He said he liked me and he sent my information. We thought it was going to be the Giants because they were one of the teams that asked for it, or the Braves. I was showering, getting ready to leave, and I heard the locker room explode, and the manager comes in and he's like, hey, once you get done showering, you just got picked up by the Mets, so come find me. It's all a whirlwind with the minor league life, so you could be one team one day and then the next the other. I was trying to get the no-hitter this year, but I just didn't get it. I got it in the 9th and blew it, but I was hoping to get that and the perfect game. But I mean, just to have a perfect game in professional baseball is something special. It's always something I can hang my hat on, but I mean, it's in the past, so I try not to have that as my only accolade. Pre-game bullpen for my perfect game, I thought I was going to throw awful. First pitch of the game, I went to a warning track dead center, and I'm like, it's going to be one of those days. Things started to come together, and by the time I knew it was the 6th inning, and I was still perfect, so then it was just, okay, I got it now. The no-hitter, it was more so I had good stuff from the get-go. Punched out the first 2 guys, was locating, hitting spots, and turned out to be one good game. Just gave up the inside the Parker. I think just consistency throughout my starts. I got to mix in my changeup a little more and kind of perfect that. I'm still trying to tinker with that because that's the best pitch in baseball in my opinion. We just did a whole new grip, so got to get comfortable with that. And then I'm still trying to hit that 95, so I came close, but I still haven't hit it yet, so that's still the goal. Originally, I wasn't going to come here. I committed so late. I think it was in June, Coach Sudberg came to see me, and I was set to go to St. John Fisher and play both ways. I was going to catch and pitch. They just blew the opportunity of getting me by not coming to see me in the playoffs in high school. And then Sudberg came and he's like, hey, I got a spot for you. And I said, okay. By chance, I threw really well my senior year and got drafted. It's high competition here, and I thrive during that. Whether it be going to the Hickey here, being on the field, being on road trips, you're always with the guys. They're even going out And you're just always with your guys, and you're not like that anywhere else but here. So, I mean, just being with the guys and being in the Bona bubble.
From a former Bonnie to a new Bonnie, let's head over to the Energy Mark Coach's Corner to meet a new face on the bench for the women's basketball team. Assistant coach Ka-Deidre Simmons, a Hall of Fame player at Seton Hall.
Just the joy of basketball made me fall in love with the sport. Being able to travel, learning from my big brother. Every time I picked up a basketball, I just knew that I was gonna have fun. I was gonna enjoy playing with my siblings, my friends. I started to win some games, I received trophies and medals, so I thought it was kind of cool, and I kind of just got better at it every single day and led me to, being the player that I was. At first, I thought I wanted to venture out, play college basketball somewhere else. Seton Hall reached out to me, and I don't know, I just kind of went for it. I just knew I wanted to play in the Big East Conference, and Seton Hall was home. My family members, my friends were gonna be able to come to all the games. My support system was gonna be there for me. It was something that I didn't really pay attention to during my process until Seton Hall actually reached out to me, and it was just something that I was just interested in, and I just went for it and stayed home. It wasn't a place where, I just go into a gym and I don't really know much. I don't know the area. I live literally 5 minutes from Seton Hall. It was nothing new for me. It wasn't really a big transition, so I was very comfortable playing on a collegiate level. I wanted Seton Hall to be put back on the map, to be one of the teams or schools that you think of when you think of New Jersey. It was always Rutgers for years, and I just wanted to join a program that I can impact and to make a difference. And being inducted to the Hall of Fame, I realized that I did that, and I was able to achieve that goal that I always wanted. It was just a moment that I just didn't take in until I got off the phone. Once I got off the phone with them, tears started to come down. I'm like, wow, the youngest and the quickest to ever get inducted was just a dream come true. Overseas is a little bit different. You're on your own, and it's a business. It's really not about who you are. It's about what you can do for that program. That wasn't the reason why I fell in love with the sport. I enjoyed the process. I wanted to at least, get out, experience that. And I did. I think everybody's experience overseas is hit or miss. There were some ups and downs, but I was able to grow through those moments and just kind of figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I know I want to stay around the game. I thought to referee or to go into coaching, whichever one came first. Refereeing came first for me, and I refereed for about 2 years. Moved up pretty fast, and then, I'm like, oh, that's not fulfilling enough. I want to be hands-on. I'm still thinking about the game. I want to mentor. So I just kind of jumped on to the coaching side, went back to my alma mater at Seton Hall, and they welcomed me with open arms, allowed me to finish my master's degree, and still enjoy that experience of actually being a coach. I was very hands-on, and it led me to St. Bonaventure, which I'm extremely grateful for. With still being young and, close in age with the girls, I can kind of understand where they're coming from, and I kind of give them my experience and then still coach them as well. I can, coach them as well as, just be a mentor to them and just find that balance. And I think because I was a player, I'm able to find that balance very, very easy. And the girls really relate to it, and I'm able to communicate with them and then also hold them accountable, and they know that it's coming from a genuine place. Two of my former teammates, Doris Ortega and Cecilia Dixon, I played AAU basketball with them literally for years. I always knew about St. Bonaventure. After being at Seton Hall, I just kind of knew that I wanted to just take another step into my coaching career, and I thought it was time, and I just wanted to be hands-on with the restrictions of being a support staff. I really couldn't do much on-court stuff. Coach Tony Bozzella, he reached out to Coach Jesse. Coach Jesse called me, and we kind of hit it right on the spot. He told me what he needed. It was me, and I was just grateful that he was able to trust my ability and, take a chance on me. I'm happy to be here, especially with this team. We have a solid team. We have a great staff. We're gonna make sure we put the best 5 on the floor every single day, and we're gonna work hard as a staff, as a team.
We leave you this week with a new student athlete feature to get to know some of our standout Bonnie's athletes. In the first installment, women's lacrosse senior Madison Callan checks in to find out what's brewing with men's soccer sophomore Mitch Wambach.
Hi, my name is Madison Callan, and I'd like to welcome you to our new chat segment brought to you by Tim Hortons, where you get to know a little bit more about our student athletes here at St. Bonaventure. I'd like to welcome our first guest, sophomore soccer player Mitch Wambach.
I came to St. Bonaventure mostly because of the community here. Everyone here is like family to each other. Like every person is like a brother and sister to each other. The soccer team, big reason why I came here. The guys were very welcoming. Coaches were great. I loved it.
What made you get into soccer when you were younger?
I started when I was a younger kid, probably like in elementary school. Abby Wambach, my aunt, pretty good role model for me. She really demonstrated hard work is key for like any type of sport. Soccer obviously picked up because of her great sport she plays. Soccer's not always the straightforward curve. It's always on a bumpy road, and she told me just stick with it. And I have, and I really admire what she told me.
I know you're on the soccer field pretty much every day, but what do you like to do outside of soccer?
You know, I really like to play golf. I play with some of the soccer players and some of my friends that aren't athletes or anything. You know, Jake Jashinsky, play with him a couple of times. You know, it's a great time.
So, amazing thing about your team is that a lot of your teammates come from many parts of the world. How does this contribute to your team culture?
Oh, it's great. You know, our team culture is something that makes us really unique. A lot of people from different countries, and on the field it's like different languages. We all mix in really well together. I think it's going to be very helpful for us in the future.
Thanks so much for your time, Mitch. I really appreciate it. Good luck with the rest of your season. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tim Hortons coffee. And as always, go Bonnies!